Hello, everybody. Happy week 5. Welcome to your recorded lecture for this week. This week's lecture is a little different from what we have been doing. It is a little bit more academic and I guess I would say technical. And that's okay. Bear with me. And the good thing is, since it's recorded, you can go back and try to review it. So let's go ahead and get started. A term I want to introduce you to is the term called, excuse me, syllabification. So say it to yourself, syllabification, or say it out loud, syllabification. Syllabification is what happens when we're saying a word and there is what we call a reduced syllable. That's when a vowel or a diphthong is followed by a consonant. Usually that consonant in this example is going to be an M, an N, or an L. So this happens in the word button, button. And so you've got this very quick transition between the T and the N, button. And there is no vowel between that pronunciation. Here's another example. Battle, battle. So what we did is we quickly produced we produced the T and we quickly produced the L. We didn't even let a vowel slide in between those two. And this is two words. And what I'm saying here is had him. I had him. As in the little phrase, I had him by the scruff of the neck. Had him. So again, syllabification is when you've got two consonants together. The second consonant happens to be an N, an L, or an M, and you're not producing a vowel between the two consonants. So that's just a concept I want you to be aware of. We don't always produce it with syllabification. Sometimes we actually do put that vowel in there, as in the case of button, button. So in that case, I actually did have a schwa in there, button, button. Now listen to this contrast, button versus button. Okay, the first one had a schwa. The first one had a schwa. The second one did not. Listen to this production. Battle, battle versus battle. And when you're transcribing, if you're transcribing a child, or you're transcribing a person speaking, you have to really have that idea of whether they have produced that vowel between the two consonants, or can you can you not hear any vowel at all? Is it just the two sounds? And did they make it into a syllabification example? So I'm going to try to pronounce some words for you, and then I want you to think about whether you think it was with a vowel or whether I did a syllabification. The first word is tackle, tackle. I tried to produce that with no vowel, so I tried to do a syllabification, tackle. If I were producing the vowel between the two sounds, I might say tackle. Don't tackle too hard. But in this case, with no vowel between, I might say he was hurt in the tackle. So it's quicker, shouldn't hear the vowel. Okay, this example. Siphon, siphon. Give you a second to think. Did you hear a vowel between the F and the N? Siphon. Hopefully you heard the vowel. I really tried to lengthen it. In this example, I'm going to try to say it quickly and produce a syllabification. Siphon. Siphon. So I hope you could hear that difference. When I really say fun, that should have in that case, a caret. Siphon. Okay. Example 3. Listen carefully. Am I producing it with syllabification, with no vowel between there? Or am I sticking a vowel between the K and the M in this case? Knock 'em, knock 'em, knock 'em dead. And hopefully you felt or you perceived that it was produced with a syllabification. In this case, I'm going to try to actually produce the vowel. Knock 'em, knock 'em, knock 'em out. Okay, so hopefully you heard the M. And if I was transcribing, and what I was intending to make there would be what I call the head E. M. Knock M versus knock 'em. Okay. Hopefully those examples are clear to you. If not, when I see you the following week, we can practice that, and I will double check with you to see if you can hear those differences. Now we're going to talk about another concept, and this sometimes is difficult for people to hear and to conceptualize. And in fact, I know that there are people that will say they have stress deafness, where they just really have a hard time hearing which syllable in a word is stressed. Typically in English, we think about 3 levels of stress. It depends on which linguist or which researcher you're talking about. Some will only talk about 2 levels of stress. And we call the levels of stress primary. The first level of stress is primary. The second level of stress is secondary. And the third level of stress is tertiary. Tertiary means third level in this case. So in the first example, I'm going to use the word tub. There's just one stress in the word. It's on the initial vowel. Tub. That's primary stress. In this example, it is another example of primary stress. 1 syllable, 1 level of stress. Shut. Shut. 1 level of stress. In this example, I want you to see my hands here. You're going to hear 2 vowels, but only the second vowel is going to have stress, or is going to be primary stress. Embark. Embark. So the second vowel had more stress. The first vowel in the part of the word M was secondary stress. Embark. Embark. So the head E, this E in this case, has secondary stress. Embark. This A would have the primary level of stress. Now, tertiary stress is a little more, I guess I would just say it's just a little more difficult to comprehend and conceptualize. Basically, from what I understand, tertiary stress it happens when there's a secondary level of stress, or a third level of stress, but the vowel in that case has not been shortened. And so in the word blackboard, typically "ord," the "or," would be a very full vowel. But in this case, blackboard, blackboard. There's so much stress on black, the word black, that in this context, board gets what we call tertiary stress. If I were only saying the word board, that vowel would have stress. But in this case, because it really is in a secondary position and the stress is so different, it's called tertiary stress. Blackboard. Blackboard. Let me give you another example. In the word indivisibility, b has primary stress. The first sound, in, has secondary stress. And in this case, the syllable v has tertiary stress. So there's 3 levels of stress. This is a better example in my opinion. So listen, indivisibility. There's stress, there's a little bit of stress on in, there's the most stress on b, and there's a third level of stress on v. But the syllables d, s, l, t don't have stress and they are unstressed. Indivisibility. So if you say that to yourself, you should feel a primary amount of stress on b, a secondary amount of stress on in, and a third amount of stress on v. Indivisibility. Okay, thank you. That is going to conclude our first lecture. It's pretty short, but if you check your Canvas, there will also be some worksheets that are also lab pieces that you can work on. And also don't forget, there will be a published pre and post test. You can take that pre-test now, or you might have taken it before you watched this first part of the lecture for this week. I'm really not going to care what order you take the test, and you can take that test twice. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you for the next lecture.